Sadaka to new heights. Alex has embarked on a journey to climb what is known as the 7 summits, the highest mountains of each of the 7 continents, all while raising funds for UJA Federation. Alex has taken 18 months off his career in the financial sector to accomplish this remarkable quest. His discipline, skill, and determination are immeasurable. Alex has carried a UJA flag to the various summits, keeping all of you here tonight close to his heart. His relationship with UJA Federation began in 2002 through his involvement in the Jewish Foundation of Greater Toronto. We are so proud to have this young man represent us in places most of us will never see. He is a true inspiration to all. Tonight, he climbs the stage to share his thoughts with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for Alex Iscoe!
Good evening, everybody. It's great to be back in Toronto, and it's truly an honor to be speaking here tonight in support of the UJA. The most incredible thing I've found about the UJA is the following. If you have a passion, a cause, or a project, the UJA can help it become a reality. I first experienced this 10 years ago when my camp friends and I were rocked by the untimely death of our dear camp friend Jordan Propaz. We knew we wanted to honor Jordan's love of camp, but we didn't know how. Enter the UJA. Nearly 10 years later, the Jordan Propaz Camp Scholarship Fund at the UJA boasts a balance in excess of $50,000 and has bestowed over 40 scholarships that send underprivileged children to summer camp, including 8 this season alone. Fast forward a couple of years. I made my way into the world of finance, spending 3 years in New York and 2 in Hong Kong with Goldman Sachs. I gained incredible professional experience, but my childhood dream of climbing the snow-capped peak of Mount Everest sat in the back of my mind. When I saw the financial storm clouds making their way to Asia, I saw it as an opportunity to go after something I've always wanted to. I phoned home and told my parents that after 10 years away from Toronto, I was coming home. My parents were thrilled. My mom was euphoric. Then I dropped the bomb. I told her I was going to be climbing mountains. Suddenly, Mom began replanting the garden. In order not to think about me on a mountain, she kept herself busy morning, noon, and night. I kid you not, the garden looks fantastic. But why stop at Everest, I thought? Why not climb the highest peak on each of the 7 continents? And thus began my quest to climb the 7 summits, something only 230 people have accomplished. My travels over the ensuing 12 months took me to the top of Europe, South America, Antarctica, Australia, and North America, with additional training climbs in Ecuador, Peru, and Bhutan, most in preparation for the mighty Everest that was slated for this past spring. For a year, whenever anyone asked my mother, "Oh, how's Alex doing?" she would tell them, "He's hanging off the side of a mountain." They'd ask, "Which mountain?" And she'd reply, "All of them." To my mom, all mountains were the same: dangerous, life-threatening, cold, windy, merciless, and far away. But I was on a mission. I had already contacted the UJA. I told them what I was doing and that I wanted to help underprivileged children trying to beat the odds on an international scale, and they offered to help yet again. Coincidentally, I was about to embark on a family trip to Israel. My dear friend at the UJA, Angela Diversa, suggested we visit the Ethiopian community in Bat Yam. As many of you know, Bat Yam is located just outside Tel Aviv and is the fastest growing Ethiopian community in the country. 70% live below the poverty line, and nearly all of the recent immigrants are illiterate, even in their native language, Amharic. From Israel, I said goodbye to my parents and brothers. The next time they would see me would be after I attempted to summit Mount Everest. Wine sales in York Mills spiked. Dad was recruited to prune trees in the back, and Mom became a top-notch landscaper. I headed back to Asia for my Everest base camp trek. On the way to base camp, the vast majority of my expedition was struck with bacterial illness or fatigue from the high altitude, but we all came through. After 3 weeks of ascending Everest, I fell ill at 24,000 feet with high-altitude pulmonary edema, a poorly understood and often random illness at altitude. With fluid in my lungs, the 9-hour trip back down to base camp felt like a year. I had been above 21,000 feet without sleep for 72 hours. My body was getting roughly half as much oxygen as it needed, and my heart rate never fell below 120 beats per minute for 48 hours straight. Even the slightest incline during my descent would slow me to a hyperventilating crawl. Back at base camp, I was put in a helicopter and taken back to Kathmandu, where recovery was very swift. So for me, standing on the summit of Everest remains a dream. I asked my mother what she was going to do when I attempt Everest again. She told me she's going to build an addition to the house. I continue to be astounded by the similarities of the plight of the Ethiopian Jew and that of the mountain climber. When a climber reaches the top and stands on the summit, he really only is halfway there. Healthy or not, getting down is the more difficult and more dangerous part. Similarly, when the Ethiopian immigrant lands in Israel, that too is only half the battle. Though there is major rejoicing in having reached the promised land, the hard part has just begun. Assimilation, education, simply making ends meet remain giant hurdles. Funds raised as part of my 7 Summits climb for the UJA will go directly to lowering these hurdles. And so, I have returned safely from over 80% of the way up Everest and the top of 5 of the 7 summits, with plans for the 6th in Africa in December. I have also met lawyers, accountants, and entrepreneurs from the Ethiopian immigrant community in Bat Yam, who with your support have quite clearly beaten the odds and greatly impressed us all. And as I look to re-enter the workforce in the coming months, I think about what I have to show for my year away. Well, my parents have the backyard they've always dreamed of, and I am closer to accomplishing a few precious childhood dreams. But most importantly, the families of Bat Yam are getting one small step closer to returning from their own formidable summit and capturing their own Israeli dream. Let's continue to support them in their mountainous journey. Thank you. Now you've all met my mother over the course of my speech. It just so happens that tonight, August 25th, is her birthday. As you can imagine, she's had quite a year. I've been told she's turning 29 again. And if you would all join me in singing Happy Birthday, I think we have a cake coming out. Oh yeah, there's the cake. So here we go.
Happy birthday to you.
Mom, you got to stand up.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Andrea.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.